to another segment of Wisdom Wednesday. This week, I wanted to talk about that you have a choice. You do have a choice. You have a choice of what you want to do in your life, the type of person you want to be, the goals you want to reach, the job you want to have, and the voice that you use to affect change in the world. I know sometimes it feels like we don't have a choice, we don't have a voice, but you do. It's just using the power of your tongue to get people to listen. And sometimes getting people to listen isn't going to happen on the first try. It's going to take multiple tries for someone to realize this person had a choice to say this, and maybe I should listen to the choice that they took, the power that they took to say the word or to express their opinion. We have a choice to say yes to things. We have a choice to say no. And sometimes when you think about your choice, you're afraid if you're going to make the wrong decision when it comes to your choices. But if you make a pro and con list of anything of a possible outcome that could affect your choice or your way of thinking as you're making the choice, that might give you a better understanding of, should I say yes or should I say no? Now, we talked about saying no on another Wisdom Wednesday. And sometimes when you make a choice, it's okay to say no because that choice might not be right for you. But don't be afraid to make the choice, because every choice you make will help you grow into the person you want to be and the person you want to see when you look at yourself in the mirror. Now, even when it comes to the food you eat, you could make a choice about that. And sometimes that's hard. I feel like choosing even what I want to eat can be difficult because I'm like, I don't feel like I'm in the mood for this. And then you have to think about if you have dietary restrictions, what food is going to work for you. So choices play a big part in your food and just in your life in general. But don't let your fears of self-doubt, your fears of people not believing in you, stop you from making a choice that you've been wanting to make for a long time. And just remember, if you fall down, you're gonna get back up because you're resilient. The choices you've made have shaped you and built you and molded you. So you have come with that inner strength to know that if I make this choice right now and it doesn't work out, I'm going to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, a plan E, plan F. You might go through all 26 letters of the alphabet, but at the end of the day, as long as you're happy with your choice and just taking that opportunity that you've been wanting to take, but you're afraid that, okay, I might not be good at this position. Or what if people feel as though I have nothing to say? Or you're afraid of the judgment. You're not afraid of making the choice. You're afraid of the judgment that comes with making the choice. That's why making choices are important, because the choices you make will make you happy, or the choices you make will decide what you want to do. But choices are not something you should be afraid of, because your choices will bring you to your destiny or whatever that may be. What you're afraid of when making choices is the judgment that comes after you made the choice. But no one can judge you because they don't know what they would do if they were in your position. They might tell you, okay, I would do blah, blah, blah if I was in this position. But until you experience something, you can only think about what you would do, because your reactions change in the moment. So don't be afraid to make that choice, even though it's hard, because it's like you feel like it could affect the rest of my life, which that is true. But if you don't make the choice and you let somebody else decide for you, then you're losing control of the power that you have in your tongue to say, this is what's right for me. Don't let someone take that power away from you of your choices. Don't do it because you're afraid of the judgment or the outcome. Sometimes you just have to step out on that face and do what feels right in the moment. Just do what feels right in the moment. And always have a plan. So remember, don't let anyone take your power of saying, I have a choice, I have a right to say, I don't want to do this, this isn't right for me, or I just have the power to say no. So I thank you for listening to me. I have enjoyed spending time with you on this segment of Wisdom Wednesday. And if you would like to give the next segment of Wisdom Wednesday, you can always contact me on Instagram. I always leave my social medias in the description of this video. And remember, I love you, I care about you, and your choices matter. Your words matter, and I hope you guys are having a blessed to another segment of Wisdom Wednesday. Today, I want to talk about having and keeping an open mind. I want to talk about this because so many things are changing, and sometimes when things change, it's hard to have that open mind to the new concept, the new style, or the new way they say things happen. And sometimes we just have to be like, when we're keeping that open mind, is try it first, but don't judge it. Try it, don't judge it. Which that can be hard because everybody has their traditions or the way that they have been taught to do something. With things constantly changing, always have to keep learning because everything changes. And change can be a source of panic, especially for myself and for a lot of people. Hard to adapt to something that's unfamiliar or something that we've never seen before. But as time goes on, you start to figure out that things are always going to change. And even if you think it's not going to change, the times are going to change whether you are up with the times or following it or not. They're going to change regardless to what you see and what you hear. Whether you want to be stuck in that old mindset, things are going to constantly change around you, regardless to if you like it or not. But having that open mind gives you the opportunity to be somewhat okay with the changes. You feel like you accomplished something. I can learn how to do this and see if it works for me. See if I can try it. It's not about is it faster or better than the way you were doing it before. It's just about learning a different way to do things. And we all learn in different ways if you really think about it. Some of us are visual learners. Some of us are auditorial learners. So some of us learn by seeing and watching, and some of us learn by listening. But however you learn to adapt to a style that works for you. That's why you have to keep the open mind. Because once you get frustrated, you close your mind off to all the possibilities that might be there. If you don't consider the changes, then you don't consider the opportunity you could be missing out on. It might not be right for you, but that opportunity could branch off to some other opportunities. And you don't want to close yourself off to the opportunities that are placed for you, that are meant for you. It's hard to have an open mind when we all have our traditions. And we will forever hold our traditional ways and our traditional styles. But it's okay to not always follow tradition. You might have a family, just for an example, of lawyers and doctors, and y'all might own a hospital, or y'all might have a family practice, whether it's in law or doctor. But you could be the one that be like, I want to be creative. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be an artist. I want to be a designer. So it's okay for you to break that tradition, because you have that open mind to say, I don't have to be like everybody else that came before me. I can be my own person. That's what keeping an open mind means. I can be my own person, but still have respect for the people that have their traditions, and have respect for things that are changing. Whether it's changing your mind or your heart, sometimes they gotta go hand in hand. Because in your heart, you feel as though, I'm not ready for change. Change scares me. So opening your mind and your heart says, I can learn to figure out how to accept what is going on and figure out a way to still be comfortable. And it's not something that's going to be learned or given over time. It's just gonna always have to happen. There's always gonna have to be a way to adapt. And whether it's in the food you have to eat, whether it's in the things you have to learn, or whether it's the things you see around you. Everything you see or everything you hear doesn't require for you to have a reaction. Sometimes you have to be still and be patient and wait in that moment and really think about what you're going to do or what you're going to say. Because sometimes our traditions can close our minds and our hearts off to new perspectives. And with things constantly changing, we all are going to have a different perspective. That doesn't make anybody right. That doesn't make anybody wrong. It's just a different way of thinking. Everybody has their own way of thinking what's going to be right for them. But how can I still incorporate the bits and pieces I have taken from people that they have taught me something, and use it and apply it to myself? I'm not going to completely change the way I do things. I'm not going to completely think, oh, the way I've been doing something is wrong. I'm just going to twist my perspective on what I was doing. I'm going to try to enhance my perspective, so when someone comes along and shares their thought process, I'm not going to automatically say, you are wrong for what you're thinking. That's not the way to do it. I'm going to say, I never thought about it that way. I'm going to give it a try and see if it works. And then me and the person can compare notes on what worked and what didn't. So that's what you should do. Have an open mind, have an open heart, and just know that just because you are doing something doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means you have to do it a different way. And maybe the path that was set out for you isn't the direction you want to take. It's okay to take a different direction. Just you have to focus on what you want to do and find a way to apply it so it can work for you. I just want to thank you for listening. And if you ever want to share a message of your own, you guys can always contact me on Instagram, and you can come up here and give your perspective on something, and I will leave all your channel links and give you credit for your perspective in the description of that video that you made. All my social medias will be in the link of the description. I hope you guys are having a blessed and wonderful day. Know that I'm always thinking about you. I'm always praying for you. And know that you having an open mind will make you stronger, will make you see other people in a different light, and give you a new perspective. Have a great day. And welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. I hope you guys are having a great day. This week for Wisdom Wednesday, I wanted to talk about loving yourself. Now, we all heard people say throughout our lives that you can't love anyone else until you love yourself, which I agree with. But loving yourself is more important than loving someone else, because when you love yourself, no one can define you. No one can tell you who you are, what you stand for, and what is going to make you happy. And with everything I just said, it might sound a little selfish, but it's not, because you can't rely on other people to make you feel whole. Only you can make yourself whole. And I don't mean as a person, I mean from inside. Making yourself feel whole, meaning you don't need someone to validate you. You can be independent and know that's okay. You don't have to rely on anyone for your confidence, your self-worth, and your self-esteem, when you can just love yourself. And I know that can be hard, especially when you have so much negative energy, negative comments, and what we see on social media, which is a lot of times not real. It's just a big filter. We can do a lot of comparison to, oh, I see somebody with a good life, or what I feel somebody has a better life than me. And that can be hard. So when you're trying to love on yourself and give yourself that boost, you can't have those comparisons running through your head. You have to know that you have to stand in your wholeness. You have to stand in your truth, in what fulfills you. Whether that's being helpful, being grateful, reading something that inspires you, you need to fill your soul, your heart, and your mind with everything positive and loving and caring, whether you have to tell yourself every time within an hour that you love yourself, you care about yourself, and you're going to put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to be able to take care of you the way you need to be taken care of, to love you the way you need to be loved, is if you love yourself. Because we can't rely on other people to make us whole. What's going to make you whole in return is going to make you happy. Whether that's being yourself, whether that's having a certain type of job, or being a certain type of person. I'd rather be known as a good person than to be known as a person that had a lot of money, a lot of things that are materialistic. My character is what's important to me, not all the material things that either I can buy myself or somebody can buy me. That's not going to make me happy. That doesn't make me feel whole. Being a light for someone that is in a dark space is more fulfilling to me. When I know I can be a good example and be a good person and be as loving and caring as I possibly can, which some days that can be hard because it's like, okay, you're being loving and caring, but you might not be getting that love and care back. But that shouldn't change me. It should be more about I have to fill myself. Fulfilling myself means whether that's picking up my Bible and reading the Word, whether that's looking myself in the mirror and was like, okay, people may not be loving me the way I want to be loved. May not. So that means for me, put that love into myself, whether that's creating a spa day at home, searching through magazines, putting on some makeup, which can be fun, doing something fun to return that angry and upset feeling that I have because somebody was mean to me or somebody didn't tell me that they loved me. Or they could have just said, I don't like you. But that doesn't mean just because somebody doesn't like me or tell me that they don't love me, that I can't put that love into myself. And sometimes to get what you need when it comes to loving yourself, you have to be selfish. And I don't mean selfish in the sense of I'm never going to do anything for anybody and I'm just going to only worry about myself. I don't mean that. I mean just knowing that if I'm whole and if I'm fulfilling myself and if I'm loving myself, I can put my best version of myself out into the world and still have my inner peace. Because once you don't have that inner peace, you can forget about the love that you are trying to create for yourself. Pouring into yourself allows you to pour into everybody else. And then sometimes you have to realize that there's a lot going on, whether it's professionally, personally, emotionally, physically. And if you're not okay, then find a way or find someone that can help you become okay. Whether that's sitting down and writing how you feel, telling a professional like a therapist, a psychiatrist, or something. But being okay is important. And it's okay to say I'm not okay sometimes. Because nobody's perfect. Nobody has time. But putting yourself first will allow you to love yourself. Loving yourself is important because if you're not happy, how are you going to make those moves in your life to get you to where you want to be if you're not happy? Your self-love depends on your happiness. Not if somebody else can make you happy, but at the end of the day, can you be happy with yourself? If you like the person that you're looking at in the mirror when you look yourself in the face, then you know you can be happy. You know you can be loving on yourself. But if you don't like the person that you are, when you look in the mirror, learn to put that love back into yourself. Invest in yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to be mean to yourself. You are going to be the most kind and most loving to yourself because you know if I don't love myself and I'm not good to myself, how can I be good and loving to anybody else? So it starts with you before it can start with anyone else. And that doesn't make you selfish. That makes you a human being. I have to fulfill my needs before I can fulfill somebody else. I have to be accountable and trusting with myself before I can hold anybody else accountable and put my trust in someone else. I need to put my trust and my love into myself. It starts with you. It's not an easy thing, and it's always going to be a work in progress. You are a work in progress. I am a work in progress. The world is a work in progress, but for me to love myself, I have to be in love with what's reflected back at me to be okay. I have to be in love with my reflection and taking accountability for the things that I want to change or the things that I don't like. And that's okay. But give yourself as much grace and mercy as you can as God has given you because He loves you for who you are. So why not love yourself for who you are if somebody like God can love you? So take the love that you feel that might have been taken from you by someone and restore your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, and put it into yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you can't make yourself whole, then you can't rely on someone else to make you whole. Everybody wants companionship, but you have to be a companion to yourself. Because at the end of the day, not everybody can be there every time you want something, need something, or something has to be done. You have to be able to rely on yourself. That's why loving yourself comes first before anybody else. And remember, it doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. It makes you a better person for the life that you want to live. So I thank you for joining me for this Wisdom Wednesday. And if you would like to give the next Wisdom Wednesday message, all of my social medias and my email is below. And you will get credit for whatever message that you would like to leave. And Remember, I am always thinking of you. I am always praying for you. I'm always sending my love. And it's going to be okay. And if nobody told you today that they love you, remember that I love you. And remember that you love yourself. Bye for now. To another segment of Wisdom Wednesday. This week for Wisdom Wednesday, I want to pose the question, are you ready for what you want? We all have an idea of what we need, and most of the time our needs are being met, but everybody wants something, whether it's a new career, a new outfit, a new outlook on life, or something that's a desire of their heart. But we wonder sometimes, why aren't we getting what we want? Why aren't we getting what we ask for or what we pray for? So that poses the question, are you really ready for what you want? I think sometimes we want something so much that we forget that we might not be prepared for what is entailed when we get what we want. Okay, so let's say you wanted to start your own business, but there's a lot of things that come with that. Paperwork, trademarks, and all of that. And you might have studied all that, but there might be something that's blocking you from that, whether it's how much time you can put into it, how much effort you can put into it. Just like if you want to learn a new skill, are you really ready for what entails coming with learning for a new skill? Because you have to practice your skills. So it's got me thinking, are we really ready for what we want? Because we've seen that things have changed a lot. And nobody was prepared for that. There's a lot of things you can prepare for, but things happen at a spur of the moment. So if we could prepare as much as possible, then we might be ready. But then sometimes being over prepared makes us unready too, because we've studied all these different things, but that might not be what we needed to study. It might have been what we needed to study at the time, but when the purpose or the project was presented, we come to find out that we needed something else. So I don't think we can always be ready for what we want or what we need, because I believe 2020 has already shown us that. We walked into 2020 thinking, or at least I walked into 2020 thinking, that it was going to be better than 2019. Because I usually feel that each year gets better. But 2020 has turned out to be a lot of work for everyone. Things have changed so much. But what 2020 did create, which I feel is a good thing, is a lot of stillness. Because I feel like we're such busy people, we don't really focus on what we want sometimes. We just focus on what we need to survive. But it's okay sometimes to focus on what you want, because that could be starting a new career. That could be doing something that you've never tried before. Because we all want to keep growing and keep exploring. Exploring new things are fun. Nobody wants to be stuck in a rut and don't know how to get themselves out of. So I believe, even though 2020 has been very tumultuous and trying in a lot of situations, it also created that stillness to get us prepared for what we really want. It's allowed us to focus on what we want because jobs are different. So some people might have been in a job that gave them the necessary needs, like food, water, clothes, shelter. It did what it needed. But is that the job that's really making you happy? It might be and it might not. So when certain things closed or shut down, it possibly could have given someone the opportunity to step out and say, I'm not going to go for a job that I don't want, that I don't like. I'm going to go for a job, or more so, I'm going to go for a career that I'm passionate about and that I could see me building a long-lasting career because I'm passionate about something. And I think knowing that we're getting ready to close out this year and go into a new year, it makes me sit back and think, am I actually ready for what's to come? I don't know what's coming, but it makes me focus on what I want to do and what I feel my purpose is, and not so much on what everybody else thinks I should be doing or telling me what I'm good at. Because I think sometimes we fall into this idea or we put ourselves in a box to where we're like, I'm good at this. People have proven to me that I'm good at this. But sometimes what I'm good at is not what I actually enjoy doing. And I wouldn't think I would want to be in any career space or just anything in general, whether it's not even a career. I don't want to be doing something that necessarily makes me unhappy. So if you're ready for something or you're preparing for something, just think and ask yourself the question, are you really ready for what you want? Now that you have what you need, it poses the question, are you really ready for what you want? And I think that's a great idea. All of us are thinkers and creative type people, and stepping out, branching out to what you want. As long as you have what you need, now you can focus on what you want. And I think that's great. So, in the comment section, I want you to leave me a comment saying, what do you want next? It can be anything. What do you want? And let me know, is this something you're passionate about? And let's just have a conversation about what we want next. I thank you for joining me for this Wisdom Wednesday segment. And if you want to be the next person to give the Wisdom Wednesday message or pose the Wisdom Wednesday question so we can all have a conversation, leave me a message on my Instagram, because that's what I check the most, or you can send me an email. My business email is in my description. And if you send me a message on my other social medias, all of that will be linked below. Always remember, I am thinking of you, I care about you, and I am always praying for you. Bye for now.